Hello, this is Peter with Play by Play Sports Radio in Baltimore. I'm here with Ethan and Rowan, and today we're going to be talking about fantasy football and players who you should draft, players who you should not draft, and stuff like that in fantasy. Ethan, let's start off with you. What do you think about players that are going to improve this year in fantasy?
Now, I think one guy to really look for in fantasy is Calvin Ridley. This Jaguars offense is explosive. You have ETN, you have Christian Kirk, you have Calvin Ridley, of course, and Trevor Lawrence leading the pack. He took a huge jump last season, and with Calvin Ridley finally returning, I like Christian Kirk. I think he can be a great wide receiver too. We've seen he cannot be the wide receiver one on a great team. Lawrence and Ridley have supposedly had an amazing connection. We've seen his talents in Atlanta already before. Now you're getting a great young quarterback who's only going to get better with Lawrence, a great offense, fun offense. I think Ridley, drafted in around the fourth to fifth round, could be a steal and potentially even a wide receiver one this season.
Yeah, that was very good, Ethan. I agree with you. But Rowan, what do you think about fantasy this year? Who do you think is going to be good this year?
I feel like you have a bunch of choices on offense, like the running backs, like Tony Pollard, like he's gonna have to step in and play. So like his, so the more production, the more points you get. So like you have to pick out the guys who have lost their competition, like Pollard and and Madison, and then there's all the guys and then maybe like DJ Moore. I mean, like if the offense is run correctly, then he'll do good. If the offense isn't, then he will do bad. Like it's just an if it's just like how the offense will be ran. I'm thinking that CD Lamb lose will he will be super good.
Yeah, hey guys, Liam from Atlanta. Big Falcons fan, big fantasy football fan. Now I know my Atlanta Falcons picked Bijan Robinson with their first round selection. And now, from a fantasy standpoint, is Bijan Robinson worth the first round pick?
I can answer this. I think Bijan Robinson, a very good pick, interesting pick. Looking at the other running backs on the Falcons, he could potentially become a starter and probably will. So I think, and looking at his production in college, I think he will definitely be a good player for fantasy, and I think he would definitely be a good pickup potentially in the second or third round, maybe, of your fantasy draft. Any more questions?
Yeah, I got another one. Actually, two. One, I mean, you guys talk about people you think surprise. Obviously, I hope you get to your disappointments. You guys think not exceed expectations and fall flat in the fantasy season. Also, I think Terry McLaurin's ADP is really just abysmal. I don't think he's worth the first within the first 6 round picks. I think he's an overrated wide receiver one on a bad offense. So can you just reassure me that I'm not gonna be the one to fall fate to him?
Ethan, do you want to answer this one?
I can take the Terry McLaurin one. I think the first 6 rounds is a fair point for him. I would probably take him near the 6-7 turn. He has not been great in fantasy. For as good as we thought of him as a NFL player, his fantasy outlook has never been elite. He's a pretty good wide receiver. The offense will have a lot of question marks heading into the season. Of course, Eric Bieniemy had a lot of success. Jahan Dotson could overtake some catches, and McLaurin, it's kind of debatable on where he is. Not calling him a first 6 round player. You probably won't get him in any leagues because I'm sure he will go before the first 6 rounds because of the outlook we have passed on him as a NFL player as a whole. But with injury concerns, with concerns with Sam Howell, if you don't think he is the guy, I think it is fair if you don't draft him in the first 6 rounds and really pass on him as a whole in fantasy this season.
Yeah, so we have a question right here.
This is Sam from Baltimore. This one's for Rowan. I see you in the Ravens jersey. Any fantasy standpoint or view on J.K. Dobbins going into this year? Obviously, there are a lot of questions.
I feel like J.K. Dobbins is gonna be a plug and play for the regular season. They have Gus Edwards, who's gonna be good. Hill, who will be their third running back. So like it all depends on how in, if you draft him, you might not want to draft him. You might want to like pick him up if he's doing good. Like maybe get Edwards. I don't think Edwards would be the worst pickup. I mean like there's like all the wide receivers and tight ends. You definitely want to get Justin. The number one player is Justin Tucker for the team. So I feel like J.K. Dobbins could. J.K. Dobbins is not your true running back one you want.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rowan, and thank you for the takes by both of you, and thank you all for the questions. That will be all for today from the Sports Talk radio station in Baltimore. Thank you for tuning in.